Snow Brothers was an arcade game that was ported by Capcom to the NES in late 1991. This title can be considered fairly rare and is one of the more valuable games on the NES. The game is very similar to Bubble Bobble in that each level consists of a single screen and you move on by clearing all the enemies from the screen. This game features a very standard plot for the era. You're a prince that has an evil spell cast on you that turns you into a living snowman, and you have to rescue a princess. I guess in the late 80s and early 90s, princesses were getting kidnapped at an alarming rate. The goal of each level is to clear the screen of all the enemies as fast as you can. You can do this by hitting enemies with snow until they become a snowball. Once they become covered in snow, you're able to roll the snowball, which means shooting them away from you at a high speed. If you hit other enemies with a snowball, you'll kill them, and it'll give you some bonus points and either a power-up that'll give you more points, or it'll give you a potion. The potions are temporary power-ups that'll buff you until you die. There are 4 different types of these power-ups. Red potions increase your walking speed, blue potions increase the amount of snow that you'll throw for your attack, yellow increases your snow distance, and green potions give you invincibility and has you puff up like a balloon, and you're able to knock enemies out for a short amount of time. Every 10 levels there's a boss fight, and the bosses are way harder than the standard levels. They can only be damaged by turning enemies into snowballs and rolling them into the boss. They're beatable, but with one-hit deaths, plan on dying a lot on them. On each level, if you take too long to complete it, a jack-o'-lantern will appear with a cape, and he'll start casting spells that'll kill you. He's unkillable, and his attacks are really hard to avoid. There are some gameplay issues later in the game. The levels are designed so that many of the ledges you can't actually jump to. You'll find yourself jumping into a pit to kill an enemy, only to get stuck in the pit because you can't jump high enough to get out. At this point, you're left with 2 scenarios that can happen. Either the jack-o'-lantern will spawn and kill you, or an enemy will finally come in the pit and you'll be able to kill them. This just doesn't feel like a good gameplay mechanic and it can be really frustrating. Graphically, this game is fairly simple because each level consists of only one screen. The environments are usually fairly bland, but the character sprites are usually fairly large and well animated. The soundtrack for this game is super hit or miss. The Stage 3 music has some of the best music on any NES game, however the rest of the tunes I would consider fairly average. The boss music is downright bad, featuring what sounds like random notes with way too many high-pitched abrasive tones. Snow Brothers is one of Capcom's most expensive games for the NES, fetching a higher price than DuckTales 2 or Chip 'n Dale 2. According to PriceCharting.com, Snow Brothers is worth $130. With a price this high and no virtual console release, this is an extremely hard game to play unless you emulate. Snow Brothers is a fun arcade platformer. The gameplay is fairly unique and the game plays really well. However, the gameplay doesn't merit the game's extremely high price. So unless you're a collector or find an extremely good deal on it, I probably wouldn't seek out this game.